Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Mazda U.S. College Prep Webinar, Day 3. This is the one-of-a-kind exclusive webinar celebrating Mazda Thailand's 72nd anniversary and ongoing support of Mazda U.S. College Prep Golf Championship tournaments. Featuring 72 U.S. college coaches in 3 weeks, with insights from partner organizations and privileged network. My name is Jai Naksakun, a senior advisor of AR, the agency college recruit consulting team. I will be your webinar host today. And with me is AR Senior Consulting Global Director Kun Jum Juthamat Ta Jumpa and Global Advisor Kun Tan Chanoknai Kamkiti. First off, let's watch a short video recap the previous Mazda U.S. College Prep Junior Golf Championships events. Golf is always a lot of fun. It's a family event. We are all happy to be there. Now, let's not wasting any more time. 3 U.S. college coaches are with us right now. Please introduce yourself and your school. Then I will be asking the questions most parents and kids are excited to know. After about 30 minutes, I will open up for questions from the audience. First up, Coach Liz Fernandes, head coach of women golf team at Emory University. Hi, Liz.
Hello, good morning. How's everyone today? We are located in Atlanta, Georgia, Emory University. My name is Liz Fernandes, women's golf coach. I have been here 3 seasons. I started out originally in teaching and now developing college players here at Emory. We have 2 national championships, which we just finished last season, winning the D3 national championship. And we're really excited for the season coming up and really excited to get to know all of you on the Zoom.
All right. Next up, Coach Alex Kirk, head coach women's team at Dartmouth University.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Alex Kirk at Dartmouth College up in New Hampshire. We're about 2 hours north of Boston. I've been here about 20 years, 30-year PGA member. We did win the Ivy League championship in 24, and looking forward to help you navigate this process.
Thank you. And last but not least, Coach Alex Giles from University of Cincinnati.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Excited to talk to you all today and share whatever knowledge I have. Originally from England, been here for about 7 years now. This is my 3rd year coaching, 2nd year at the University of Cincinnati. University of Cincinnati's in Ohio, we're kind of in the middle of the country, in the middle of everything, easy to get to a lot of places. So yeah.
All right. Thank you all again for being with us tonight and sharing your invaluable knowledge. with us. We are truly honored to have you as part of this special event. Let's kick it off with the questions about the recruiting process for talented athletes. Everyone was excited to understand. First off, Coach Fernandes, college recruitment process for talent athletes. How is it different from regular student recruitment process?
There's a couple things that are key to that we need as key points in the schedule before we do our college acceptance. And one of them is a pre-read. So we like to start doing that at the beginning of our junior year. And that gives us an idea about grades. It gives us an idea of where you're sitting with your classes, if you're taking enough APs, too many APs, what those look like, how they would transfer into school. So that's a key piece to our puzzle as an academically driven school. And then our admissions likes to see 6 semesters of grades before we can put in a likely letter. And the likely letter process is us as coaches really putting in an application process for you. And that can start as early as May, right after your junior year. So as soon as you have 6 semesters of those grades, we can start putting in those grades into our admissions process. We apply to the school just like you would in October, but we do it in a different format. And we're able to find out a little bit earlier than the school's process to find out if you're able to get into school.
So coaches do play a big role in the whole process. So, well, I should ask Coach Kirk, what do you look for first when recruiting junior golfers?
Well, I mean, I think in our high academic institutes, I mean, academics, the grades are probably most important. Every school's a little bit different, like test scores are required at Dartmouth, but it's a good question to have every coach, whether they need them or not. So, I mean, I think if you don't academically qualify, then the golf is kind of a moot point. But if you are academically hitting the numbers that we need, then we look forward to the obviously lower stroke averages are better. But then I think the last intangible really is just the personality and the people and how well do you interact with the coaches and it's also just a personal relationship. I think the academics and the golf are the prerequisites, and then it's your relationship with the coach.
Mm. So that's important for all the students to know that it's not just the sports, but it's also the academic performances as well as their personality that plays a role. For students outside of the United States, how do you evaluate if they're meeting your standards? Coach Giles, maybe you can answer that for us.
Yeah, we are probably not quite as academically focused as some other schools. But in terms of recruiting people from outside of the U.S., we look a lot at the World Amateur Golf Rankings. There we're able to see, firstly, if you have one. I think if you have one, you're playing in really good events. That's the kind of stuff we want to see. Any professional tournament exposure. I know in Thailand we see a lot of people playing like Thai LPGA events. That's a big bonus for us. I think if you're competing against professional golfers, you're kind of there or thereabouts in terms of the level that we're playing at. We're not there yet. And then the other thing is golf course length. A lot of junior golf events can be pretty short. So if we can see that you're playing events kind of around the 62,000, 61,000, or 6,100, sorry, yard length, that's a big thing for us too.
All right. How much you pay attention to the video highlights or the profile that the students put together? What do you think is it's play a big role in your decision?
Yeah, I like to look at that first before even speaking to them. I feel like you get a great idea of the person, not only their golf game, but just who they are as people, before speaking with them. Because, as Alex said, the personality is big for us too. We want to get to know the people. It's the person first. And so the videos and the profiles give great insight to you all as people before meeting us, which I think is really neat.
All right. Coach Fernandes, how early should a student athlete start reaching out to coaches? Because looks like there are a lot of work that they have to prepare. Should they start contacting you? How early?
Yes, so we're a little bit different in D3. If you reach out to me, I can respond and I can actually have conversations with you and respond to what you're sending or and have us and start a communication with you as soon as you'd like to. For D1, obviously there's a little bit different of a timeline of when they can respond and comment back. Just commenting on what Alex said, we do not require an SAT. So that was a little bit different at our institution. I think that's important to ask a coach. Do you require those tests? Because if you're very interested in schools and you're not, then you don't have to take some of those tests that are required at other schools. So that does play a
Mm, okay.
factor in maybe your timeline if you're waiting for a specific score. We don't have that requirement. So yeah, different timeline for D3 for when you can reach out and when you can start responding. I any age, yes.
I think that makes sense that they have to understand or study the requirements of each school that they are interested to apply to see the deadlines and what's required. But a lot of international students are eager to know, like, is there any preference over email or social media, or how do you get in touch with you? What is there a kind of preference for them to contact you? Maybe Kirk, Coach Kirk.
I mean, I think it's a good question. I mean, I would probably start with email, but then every coach could give you a different answer. So you just have to do that. I mean, I also think like Instagram's been a big thing for me to be able to follow. Like for us, we can't really reach out till June 15th of your sophomore year. So I would say it's like a tea time. You don't want to be late. It's okay to be early. And on the D3s can obviously talk anytime, but the D1s, we're not ghosting you. We're just waiting for the rules to start. So if you feel you have the content and the quality, then introduce yourself to put us on your radar. But it'd have to be like after, the end of your sophomore year before we can start communicating.
So it looks like the best option is for the students to keep uploading their content into all their social media, just to make sure that we have enough, information about each kid. So about the admission process, lots of student athletes are concerned if their grades are good enough. So how much flexibility do coaches have with the admission office, Coach Giles?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of flexibility. And I was reading this question, and it's kind of unique for each person, I would say. And there's a lot of things that go into it. If someone wants to come to Cincinnati and be in our engineering program, we want to see that they're pretty strong academically so that they can handle the program and playing golf as well. If you're coming in and wanting to do something, I don't want to say easier because nothing is easier, but kind of maybe something more like psychology or business, we have a little more flexibility. And it also depends on, again, the program that you want to go into. They have their own rules and there's just a lot that goes into it. It's hard to tell. I always tell people, reach out to us. Like, we want to get to know you, and then we'll kind of handle that. Like, if it's not going to work out, obviously we'll let you know. But because of academics, but we've not come across that yet. We kind of always seem to make it work.
Yeah. So, Coach Kirk, can you share your thoughts on how student athletes balance academic and golf once they are in college?
I mean, I think the simple secret is time management. When we're in season, probably right now in the fall for, 6, 8 weeks, we're traveling, going to tournaments. You kind of got to juggle academics and golf. The winter, I think it's a little more training. And, February, March, April, we get back into both. So it's really just time management. You got to block out times to study. Sometimes when you're traveling, you might have to communicate with your professors that you're missing class. And, I think with technology and recordings and Zooms, it's actually made it a little easier, but, every school is probably different too. And you just have to stay active both ways. You don't get out of class just because you're playing golf. Some professors love that you play sports, and other professors could probably care less.
Yeah. So, like for Emory and Dartmouth, I'm very sure academic standards are pretty high. How do you support player if their grades are slipping during season? What resources do they get? You know, to help them?
I mean, we have all the athletes at Dartmouth get free tutoring. Um, I think we have really high academic driven players that, my team GPA is 3.8, so I'm not really worried about the academic stuff. But I mean, sometimes I have to talk them off the ledge that it's okay to miss class. The students are more worried about missing it. But I think they just stay active. I mean, everyone does fall, but you have to stay in front of it, study. You can't, I mean, you have to study on the road sometimes too. Even when we're at a tournament, it's a balancing act, but it's all possible. I think all the coaches probably try and balance our schedules a little bit to, you know, when it's going to be hard and when it's not. So you got to just stay in the moment.
Yeah, but I guess the good sportsmen are good at schools as well, so they are like self-driven. So what's a day like for student athletes? Typical week of practice, workout and competition. How is it like? Uh, Coach Fernandes?
I think every coach can probably say that it changes when we're competing versus home for practice and things like that. We run our program pretty much like a D1 program in a D3 world. They were home one day last week. It was a pretty quick transition back from one tournament to the next. That's not a typical week every week, but I think it's important for student athletes to understand that that could happen every once in a while and you're only home one day out of the week. But usually we have workouts 2 to 3 days a week, practice 3 to 4 days a week, and then we try to figure out when to give them a day off and they're on the road. So we compete a full fall and a full spring. Ours is a little bit shorter, I would say, as far as an overall schedule in the fall than D1. We're done closer to the beginning of October. So they do have a little bit more time to study after that point, but it's still a good schedule. The difference between D1 and D3 is we have days that we practice versus hours. So it's a little bit different in the timeline, but overall with the schedule, we're still putting in 3 to 4 hour practices per practice per 3 to 4 days a week, and then qualifying maybe 1 to 2 times a week.
Yeah. Do you give the students the practice schedule, or they have to propose their own?
We have a set schedule that they do every week. They'll know their full fall at the beginning. With being such an academically driven school, they need to know where they need to be at every given moment with making up classes, making up tests. If they're traveling, they're going to have to make those things up. So they're going to know where they need to be every day.
All right. Okay. With students, from high school and transitioning to college, basically they are transitioning between junior golf and college golf. What would be the biggest challenge in such the transition, Coach Kirk?
Well, I mean, I think the golf courses might be a little bit longer. You're playing on a team that sometimes you might not have done that in junior golf. You might have played on your own. I mean, you're away from home. You have a new home and family. So I think you just have to get settled and balanced and get comfortable in your environment. Hopefully you picked a school that you like the coach and you like the people. And I think you have to pick a school that you like to be at. You don't just come to a Dartmouth because it's an Ivy League school for the name. I mean, you really, there's some great schools. Nothing wrong with winning a national championship in Atlanta and, going. So I would go to where you fit instead of trying to just go where the name brand is my advice.
Yeah, I think that they have to make sure that it's the right place for them to enjoy both sports and classes. And another thing that students are worried about is that once they are in a member in your team, not all of them gets to go to the tournaments. How competitive is it in qualifying for tournaments within the team? Who would like
It's
to?
well, hopefully for the coach, I think hopefully for the coaches, it's very competitive that, everyone's got a chance. Um, and I think as coaches, it's like the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. I mean, 5 players are happy to go, and there might be a couple that you're trying to massage to figure out how to get better, and the disappointment that they don't get in the van and travel. So, and then I would also, it depends on everyone's team's roster sizes. I think, I would just look at our programs or look at any school you're looking at and see how many players they carry. Like, what's we do have some roster limits for certain schools going in but I mean, I think you can look at the equation, look at the players that we've all recruited and where they're from, and just do your research on each school.
Right. Right. I understand. Um, Once it comes to getting drafted into a team, how are golf scholarships are usually divided? Can you give us a picture of how is it, full scholarship versus partial, percentage of the team receiving scholarship and things like that, Coach Giles?
Yeah, we have 6 full scholarships. Some schools are different. Well, a lot of schools are different. We also have our international office supports our international student athletes. So we have a certain amount of money we can pull from there too, like as a main campus scholarship, academic scholarship. So we kind of try and stack as much as we can so that everyone is on some kind of scholarship. We typically carry 7 to 8 players. So we might have some that are on fulls, some that are on like a little less than a full, and it kind of gets made up elsewhere, or it doesn't get made up elsewhere. So that's kind of how we do it.
So, since you brought up international students, do you feel that international students get the same opportunities to get the scholarships as the students from the States? Is it the same, you know?
Yeah, I think so. In some areas, maybe more. In some areas, maybe less. I think now with the introduction of NIL, name, image, and likeness, our school for sure is trying to find ways to support internationals a little better because they can't really benefit from NIL. So I think it's getting to a point where maybe it could be perceived from Americans that they're getting more support than people from the US. But yeah, we're trying to kind of equal the playing field as much as possible.
So I guess they have to try their best, and make sure they get good exposure and opportunities to show off their skills. And once they are in college, I'm sure time management is key. But what if, they start losing, like losing form in their game? And would that affect their scholarship, Coach Fernandez?
Yeah, so unfortunately, we don't have scholarships at our D3 level.
Oh,
Some,
right.
some D3s do have academic money, but unfortunately, Emory does not. You can qualify for merit. Unfortunately, I don't have any pull on that with merit. It's all just goes into the student body. But as far
Mm,
as time management goes and things like that, you have time for two things. You have time for academics and you have time for golf. And if you choose to add a third thing, one of those is going to not hold up the standard that we do here at Emory. And you're probably not going to make the bus, as Alex said. I mean, there's only a certain number of players we can take, and we're
right.
very competitive as a team. So if you're not going to spend the time to do academics and not spend time playing golf and you're going to choose to do something else, one of your teammates is probably going to take their spot. So it kind of they weed out themselves by choosing to do other things.
Mm-hmm. This is another question. The scholarships, you look at the whole team, or is that allocated by year, like first year, sophomore and such? Coach Kirk?
Well, we're similar to Emory. We don't have any we don't have any scholarships. It's based on family need. Um, so I'm not an expert at all on any scholarships because we literally do not deal with that.
That's right. I keep forgetting. So, can I repeat that question for Coach Giles then?
Yeah, sure. Did you say does it vary per year? Is that what you said?
Yeah, yeah. Because,
Yeah,
go
really
ahead.
no is the short answer. Not at all. We have some freshmen that are on much more scholarship than our seniors. So no, that doesn't, and we're not a school of, or a program, I should say, of like seniority or anything like
Mm,
that. We're all on an equal playing field. Just because you're a senior, in my belief and our head coach's belief is, just because you're a senior, it doesn't mean you have earned the right to any more than a freshman.
mhm.
So yeah.
All right. I have one more question before we open up for the questions from the audience. Basically, with student athletes, they have to go to school, and like Emory and Dartmouth is very competitive academically. What are their career? Or after they graduate, do you know if your alumni goes into what kind of career, or do you have statistics that much?
I think we're very successful. I mean, I don't have the actual numbers, but I think whatever field they've gone into, Wall Street, finance, medical, doctors, lawyers, I think you're on a path for success and very
Right.
lucrative.
Yeah. I guess that because this is a very, very strong program, and they are uh, probably have very good career.
I can add, I think last year's admissions told us the average Dartmouth graduate from last year's class came out with a median income of $90,000. That's a median.
Wow.
So You know, you
Mhm.
could be, I think you're on a path for success if you make it to the Ivy League or high academic institutes.
I
Yeah,
agree.
we're
Okay.
similar,
Yes.
very similar to that. I think we're almost exactly the same as Dartmouth in a lot of ways with the statistics. Most of my young ladies are in business or finance of some kind. Computer science is strong.
Mhm.
Some touch the medical field, but it not in a doctor form, more of just health management or marketing, but mostly business.
Mhm.
And
That's
I can
good.
answer that
Okay.
if
Yes.
you want me to
Yes.
answer that too. Or
Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, a lot of ours have gone on to play professional golf. And a lot of ours are also in business. We have a really big business school. We do a thing called co-op, so you get a year of working as part of your degree. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that's kind of us.
All right. Okay. I have questions from the audience. I'll read it up, and some might be similar to the questions I asked earlier. What's normally the deadline when the prospect would assume that they are not likely to be recruited by their dream school for their graduation year? Okay, I'm a little confused. It's in the rule. I think you can read it along with me. What's the normal deadline when the prospects would assume that they are not? Oh, I see. That means if they start applying for colleges and then they don't get any confirmation, what time is it likely that they are not recruited? So they start to apply for other school. I think that's the question.
I
Anyone
mean,
can
I think
answer.
you just have to gauge the interest and the interaction with the coach. You know, your dream school might not be, if you have no interaction with the coach or not hearing from them, that might be a sign. If you have a lot of engagement and the coach is communicating with you, then I think you have to be, I call it self-awareness. You have to understand what's going on. It's not like you're waiting and waiting and waiting, and you know, you have to be realistic and maybe look at schools that have the majors that you want and the golf opportunities that you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it makes sense. The next question, it's about your decision on recruiting. Which part that you put more weight on, GPA or the ranking of golf like JGAs?
I can answer. Kind of 50-50. I mean, we'll look at GPA, and if GPA is like, GPA and then what they want to study, if those two kind of match up, then it's kind of all golf. So there's a mixture of the two, but you got to be pretty decent academically, or at least decent enough for the school, before we can kind of go any further.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, I think we uh took that question about your support during tournaments. Comparing transfer student and a high school graduate, which option that you prefer recruiting? A transfer student, that means they started like year one in some college, like overseas, and continue at year two or three at your school. I guess that's what I mean, the transfer student. And compared to high school student, do you have any
I think
preference?
I
Yeah.
think
I
it
mean, I
depends on like your program, where your program's at. That can vary. For us, for sure, it varies. Sometimes we want a little more experience, who have kind of been in the college golf world for a year or two. Um, Other times you want something completely new. Like it all depends.
Yeah. Coach, other coaches, you have any?
I mean, I think the transfer portal is definitely a new opportunity, but specifically at Dartmouth, it's not a real option that we're looking at. It's harder to get into transfer. For me, it's easier to get in straight through high school, but I think there's plenty of opportunities in the country to navigate that. There's no right and wrong. I think you're just in your own situation and have to navigate that with the schools that you're interested in.
Yeah, same. We have a really hard time getting in transfers after a certain point because they can't get accepted. A grad student would be a different story if they had a year left and they wanted to do a master's program. But unfortunately, after usually sophomore year, you can't figure out how to get them in and start a major at Emory.
I would
Okay.
also add, though, you should try and find the right school from the beginning. If you're already thinking of transferring before you've already been to a school, it's kind of a bogey. Like, but you can make, you have to look at your opportunities too, though.
Yeah.
I would second
right.
that for sure.
Okay, next question is, does it matter if you don't need a scholarship for D1 teams? Probably, does it matter? Would you still recruit them if they don't need a scholarship? Or does it make a difference in your decision? That's question number one.
I
And
mean,
question number two, any thoughts on a student who would stay back a year, repeating freshman year?
I can answer question one. Does it matter if you don't need a scholarship? No. That's great. If you don't need a scholarship, that's awesome. Yeah, we've got no there's no rule or anything. Like that's awesome. And then question two, does someone else want to answer that? I can go ahead.
I think it depends on where you are and your maturity and your birth dates and your age, that, you have to do what's best for you. It's not unheard of to
Okay.
even take a gap year, or if you want to repeat a grade, I think that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think gap year is great if you need an extra year of development with the golf side and you can just focus on golf. Some coaches love that. Or if our class is full and we don't have spots on a roster, that's a great time to take a gap year.
Okay. Thank you. And for the parents who asked those questions, if I didn't do justice for your question, please go ahead and turn on your camera and speak up if you want to ask further or to clarify your question. Okay, and then I'll read another one from Anis is currently 16 years old and studying year 11 in Malaysia. If he plans to apply to U.S. colleges in 2026, would you recommend that he pursue A levels or the AP curriculum to align with the U.S. College requirements? And basically, how do you see A levels compared to AP courses when you evaluating the academic readiness?
I mean, again, I think that's a question for every school that you're inquiring about. I mean, I would say at Dartmouth, they're looking for the highest rigor possible. I mean, that doesn't mean you have to take every AP, but you have to take the most challenging classes that are offered at your high school. And then obviously you're talking to schools that are all over around the world that, we send that up in the pre-read to admissions to get their approval or okay. Because we're not high school experts. I mean, you might have a larger school that sends more kids to the U.S., but every school's different. So I would just try and take the most challenging that you can handle.
Mhm. Anyone want to add to that?
I think our admission in most, academic schools are very much used to the international academics that they're taking. So our admissions is very accustomed to seeing the different classes and being able to see how challenging the classes are that they're taking and the schools. So they mostly recognize those. So I think take it hard enough class load, but don't take too hard of a class load that you're going to give too much time off of golf.
Mhm. So it's really unnecessary to try to do the conversion, right? Because just doing your program and the evaluation of your academic, it's helped by the admission office because they will understand how to translate that into the U.S. system. And there's a question about WAGR ranking. What's a good point for, WAGR ranking? At age 16, what is expected of him?
I'm not quite sure how it looks on the men's side. I can speak from the women's side. If you have a WAGR, that's a great start, truthfully. If we're getting, a little more nitpicky, if you've got a WAGR inside 1500, that's also awesome. So I'm, again, not quite sure how it looks on the men's side.
Alex, would you like to add on?
I mean,
Yes.
rankings definitely help, but at some point you just need a proven track record too. You have to play and establish yourself one way or the other. I mean, I also, the rankings, the WAGR might help internationally. I mean, you probably don't have a good JGS or an AJGA ranking because you might not play in enough. And I think there's a lot of college coaches out there that aren't stuck in the rankings and they're looking for, good quality players. So I don't think WAGR's strong, but I don't think all the rankings are exact, is my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, are there any specific tournaments or showcases in Asia that are most valuable for exposure to the U.S. college recruiters? Okay, I think I'll ask all the coaches. Coach Alice, any tournaments that is in your radar?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I know we've looked a lot at the Annika that was just played probably 3-4 months ago now. That was a big one, had a lot of good Asian players playing. And then some of the LPGA qualifiers. I think it was just the Maybank that was on not long ago, that had a lot of great players playing in it. Any of those big events where good players are playing, those are all events that we look at.
Okay. Coach Kirk, do you have preference?
I'm not a total expert on a lot of the international tournaments. I mean, obviously the USGA events over here are strong, but I mean, I think you just have to play against the most competitive fields that you can improve in your area.
Mm.
Um, if you're playing against strong players and you're winning, that's a good thing. If you're playing against weak fields, it depends on what the score is, but I mean, it's all relative to the competition.
Mm. So it sounds like rankings and scores, tournament performances are just part of the decision, not all. Right?
Yeah,
It's something that you have to consider in a whole, and also potentials from like talking to them, and like you mentioned, video is important. Interviews are important. You think that's kind of good to
I can
summarize,
say,
Liz? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
no, what I would say is like, I think it's funny, like Coach Fernandes says that, we go to school and play golf at the same time. So sometimes we have some recruits that say they play well in the summer, but we have to go to class and play golf at the same time. So you need to do that in high school and you'll do it in college. It's not about playing in the summer, getting your ranking up, and then just studying during the school year. We have to do both.
Right, right. Okay. So you want to make sure that they are successful in college because that's what expected of them. All right. Coach Liz, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think that it has to be a balance, right? If you only have time to play during the school year, a couple day events, that's fine, but it needs to be a year-round golf. So if there's a lot of tournaments here in the States that are one-day tournaments that they're playing, every other week because they're trying to play more golf. If you're going to play a 3-day event, every month, that's great. But the more golf you can play consistently versus just putting in your time in the summer is going to show us that you can handle golf and school and balance everything, which means it's going to translate to college very well.
Right. I think another one from Victor. Would you like to ask your question again? I'm not sure what's the question that you're looking at. What's the flexibility you get to the published admittance average relative to golf performance? Is there one published by schools about the golf performance average?
This is
I'm not
Victor.
sure.
I'll try to phrase it as delicately as I can. I'm just trying to, as a parent, I just have no idea how much leeway a student gets relative to for their academic performance relative to their golf performance. What I mean by that is for Emory or for Dartmouth, you can look up what their average SAT, average GPA, you can look all those up.
Oh, okay.
And then relative to your golf performance, how much leeway you get to that average for your child, just trying to get any sort of guideline because I've heard all sorts of different stories and I just don't know how to balance my kids' academics versus their sports performance or results.
I mean, I could say I don't think there's much leeway. It's we need the smartest players that shoot the lowest scores. Like they're not treating athletes any different than they're treating the general admissions.
Yeah, I guess
I think it's a hard balance, but if you're not good academically, you're going to fail at a school like ours. And we don't want you to fail. We don't want you to be set up for not having the most successful track in college. Now there's a way that once you get to school, you can decide to take an easier gen ed or something like that to help balance that. But if you're not able to pass or stay up with the core academics, then we're not doing our job by bringing you to the right university. So there's some leeway, at least with us. You have to be good at golf, but you have to be good academically. And if you're not reasonably good at both of those, you're not going to be successful here.
We have some leeway, truthfully. I think if you come and you're struggling, we have all kinds of support that really makes struggling kind of hard, I would say. Like mandatory study hall with tutors, all those kinds of things that I think, if you're coming here playing great golf, but maybe school is a struggle, like we'll figure that out. Or if you're coming here and you're doing great in school and golf is a struggle, we'll also figure that out. I think there's some flexibility there.
Yeah, all right. I think that's all we have time for, and that has been a great discussion. I hope you all learn a few things and back up a lot of inspiration. So unfortunately, we have to end the session tonight. On behalf of Mazda Thailand and partners, I would like to thank all coaches again for spending valuable time with us and give us insightful information. Coach Liz Fernandes from Emory University, Coach Alex Kirk from Dartmouth, and Coach Alex Giles from University of Cincinnati. Let us say thank you all, together. Thank you very much, Coach. We have a back-to-back session tonight, so please log in at 9 p.m. Bangkok time for session 4 of Mazda U.S. College Prep webinar. You will meet Coach Balvin Sargent from University of Virginia, Coach Matthew McGreevy from Sacred Heart University, and Andrew Summer, CEO and founder of IJGA International Junior Golf Academy. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more contents and get in touch with us. Our team information is on screen. And as for tonight, thank you all and goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Coach.
you.
Thank you,
you.
coach.